Hello, I'm Maryanna Franco and this is Jason Barnard, and today we are back to speak about the killer robots that we promised last time. And I just noticed that we are matching.
Yep.
Great taste.
Great color.
So we won't actually talk about, literal killer robots, but instead we are going to speak about the chatbots when they go a little cuckoo, nuts.
Yep, and they start to lie.
Yeah, they start to lie and they start to kind of, hallucinate a little bit.
Well, the word hallucination is something that people don't really understand. It sounds like they've taken lots of drugs, which isn't the case. It's more that they're telling or creating misinformation. So they're not even lying. Lying suggests an intent.
Yeah.
Misinformation is simply incorrect information. Disinformation is creating misinformation with intent to mislead. So the bots are creating misinformation and amplifying, distributing misinformation that they find online. Scary.
Yeah, and I mean, we have a few situations that appeared in the news recently, and we also watched this documentary, the feature with Bill Gates, where they mentioned an experiment with Bing, where Bing basically starts suggesting to the person, please leave your wife, I love you, I only want to be with you, I want to be human, and stuff like this.
Right. Well, let's start with that one.
Yeah.
That starts from the idea that the machine is designed to satisfy you.
Yeah.
It's designed to agree with you.
But I mean, let me just say that this is not anymore. This was in the beginning when it was being tested. So it's not happening right now.
But it brings to the fore the fact that they're building machines that are designed to agree with us because they're designed to help us and because that's how they get you as a user and keep you as a user. And keep you in their walled gardens we talked about several episodes ago. So that's the first point. They're designed to satisfy and to please.
Yeah, but where do they get these ideas? I mean, it's like, are they left to say these things by the people that are chatting with them?
I think you have an opinion about that. You don't need my opinion.
No, well, we talked some time ago about the situation that happened with, what was the name of the AI? The one with the characters. It was Character? No.
Oh, it was...
I don't remember the name. It was
Game of Thrones.
Yes, but it was an AI program that kind of mimicked, or how do you say?
Mimicked
characters that you would choose, and then you could chat like you were chatting with a character.
So this one, and we won't go into details, was trained to be a specific character from the Game of Thrones and designed to satisfy, please, and agree with the person talking to it.
Yeah.
And the person talking to it is leading the machine to say what they want it to say.
Yeah.
And the machine simply complies.
Yeah. And what happened, and because you never watched the Game of Thrones, right? But I did. And so when you showed me this piece of news, my comment was, but the character would never say this. So this is what I don't understand. So that's the thing. It's like, okay, the bot is trained to speak like this character, and then something bad happened, but the bot was not talking like his character anymore. It completely went off character and completely started talking things that were, in my opinion, weren't acceptable. I mean, in my opinion, and probably everyone's opinion.
Right. Once again, without going into details, what that happens there is that it's trained on the character. Now, there are two problems. Number one is it isn't necessarily clear to the machine which character is speaking at any given moment in the Game of Thrones, depending on how they fed the data. But beyond that, the limit of what the machine is able to say based purely on the character is very limited. So as soon as the person asks the machine to step outside the initial series, which they're going to do very quickly, the machine is now on new territory and has to start inventing. Mm-hmm. At which point, the machine doesn't have any guardrails, it doesn't have anything to hang on to, and it's looking at the wider world. And whatever the wider world contains, the machine is going to use. So the machine is being led by the human into territory the machine is not designed to answer. The machine is desperately trying to satisfy the human. The machine starts making stuff up, and it goes horribly wrong in this particular case.
So how do we regulate this, and how do we control this?
Well, regulation from a legal standpoint is so far behind, and it will be. I mean, the regulation for the internet 26 years ago was bad. Yeah. 26 years later, it's not much better. Mm-hmm. And things are getting faster and faster and faster. And relative to what we've had in the last 26 years, it's going to be so difficult for the governments to keep up.
Yeah.
Also, it's worldwide. Governments don't agree increasingly. Companies, will they regulate it? Not as long as it's making them profit. We have a problem. I don't have a solution to that problem, but definitely those guardrails that say to the machine, this is where you have to stop because it's starting to get problematic for the person using it, is very difficult to define, very difficult to imagine that there are going to be decent guardrails. So that is scary.
Yeah. And, I mean, on the other hand, you have, and here, maybe I'll be a little bit mean if I say this, but maybe you have also people trying to gain some kind of attention with, claiming that the AIs are saying that they will take over the world or you're just a human and stuff like this. And I mean, most probably a chatbot wouldn't come out with this by itself.
Well, clickbait titled like robots taking over the world,
exactly.
For example. And we saw a journalist talking about that, and he was saying, it's this terrible mistake. The machine's got it horribly wrong. We've had so many examples of journalists taking the machines down a path that are very slippery for the machines. The journalists are smart enough to understand that it is a slippery path. They're trying to get a good story. And that makes the point that the people who are writing about this and have the voice are the people who are creating situations where the machines are getting it wrong. And the number of times the machine gets it right vastly outweighs that.
Yeah.
Especially as most people aren't trying to lead the machine into making some horrible mistake they can write an article about. So I think we need to temper a little bit our panic and our worry by the fact that the bad stuff is hugely amplified, both by the clickbait aspect of it and by the fact that people writing about it are sometimes trying to make the machine make a mistake so they have a great story.
Yeah. And I think, right now it's a bit up to all of us to help these machines also learn.
Yeah.
And to us, I even mean users, because, and I'm very bad at this, I must confess. I do it very little amount of times. But whenever you do something ChatGPT, it asks you to evaluate it if you like the answer or not, and to send a comment. And we don't really do this. I remember doing it once. I remember that I was really impressed with the answer, and I thought, today you really deserve a thumbs up and a comment. But this is also a way for us as users and humans to contribute. Of course, some people could do it for the bad side as well. But if we all consider we are all good humans and we are all contributed to a better world.
Well, at scale of billions of people, the people with bad intent are not going to be able to dominate. And the engineers from ChatGPT were saying this is hugely important to us because it's the reinforcement data, i.e. the data that confirms to the machine that it's getting it right when you click the thumbs up, that helps the machine know that it's on the right track. And because it's learning by itself, according to our feedback, but also obviously the engineer's input, that feedback is hugely important by saying, good machine, well done. And just think about it like your dog.
Yeah.
And if you can encourage it every time it does something right, it's going to become more right. And if you don't, it doesn't know where it stands and it's going to get it more and more wrong.
I have a good question. It's going to take
They've all been good so far.
It's going to take us back a few steps. But when we were talking about regulation and everything, what led us to that was the hallucination from the machines, right? Yeah. And we know, as you said, governments are not really keeping up with the internet. Companies don't really have interest. Of course, they have interest from the point of view that they can get sued potentially.
Yeah.
But if companies don't put filters and don't do anything right now, are we taking the risk that the AI will eventually evolve to some kind of intelligent form that we won't be able to put filters on anymore before we do something?
That's definitely a danger. And whether it's a danger tomorrow or in a year's time or in 20 years' time or in 10 years' time, we don't know. And it depends how it evolves. But definitely we've created a machine that is designed to become more and more intelligent and designed to become intelligent at an accelerating rate.
And it's feeding itself constantly, right?
Yeah. And for me, that's the fundamental question.
Yeah.
If it's feeding itself misinformation today and we allow it to keep feeding itself misinformation, that misinformation will become amplified. It will become more ingrained in the machine's brain. It will be much more difficult to correct it. Impossible if it gets smarter than us.
Yeah.
the day of singularity that you taught me about. A singularity is the day that the machines become smarter than humans. Then we've got a problem if the machines aren't benign and delightfully kind, and I hope they are. And from that perspective, as individuals, as corporations and individuals, you were talking about clicking the thumbs up. We need to do that.
Yeah.
We need to have.
We need to train the dog.
Yeah, we need to train the poor dog. But we can also train the poor dog by cleaning up our little corner of the internet.
Yeah.
We can't correct the misinformation that's out there. We can't change all the information about all the things around us. But what we can do is make sure that it's incredibly clear who I am, what I do, who I serve, what the facts are about me, what's acceptable to say about me, what isn't acceptable to say about me, or my company, or my products, or my film, or my music group. And it's our responsibility in our little corner of the internet to clean that up and make it very, very clear to the machine so that those initial facts are incredibly clear, well-defined, and ingrained in its brain. Sorry.
If I might translate this.
Oh, sorry.
This means that when the machines take over, they will know that you're a nice person and that you don't have any intentions against it, so they will spare you and kill everyone else. I'm joking.
I hope so, yeah. So the more serious point there is I don't think people take that seriously. And they think, the machine will figure it out.
It won't.
And I know so many people who say, it's okay, the machine will figure it out. I'm very clear. And one thing people aren't is clear and consistent.
Yeah.
And one thing that machines need is clarity and consistency. So
it's like Pavlov dogs.
The dogs keep coming back.
Yeah.
And that point about the machine wants to understand you whether you like it or not. It will try to understand you whether you like it or not. And as a person, let's just focus on people. The ambiguity is huge.
Look at my name.
Your name, there's 200,000 people, let's say. With my name, 5,000. We've got a client, Scott Duffy, 10,000. Jonathan Kronstedt, who's a client of ours, there's probably only 2 or 3 of him in the world, and it still gets it wrong because there was a mineralogist from Sweden, and it thinks that he's a mixture between the mineralogist and the president of Kajabi. And it was up to him and to us to sort that out and to clarify, become consistent in his message so it would understand, and it now does understand.
Yeah.
Not it. They, ChatGPT, Bing, Google, Gemini, Perplexity, all understand because we created clarity and consistency across his entire digital footprint. If you don't do that, you will become a Swedish mineralogist.
Or, just be aware of the machines when they become alive. That's all I'm saying.
Thank you.
I'm screwed. So you're safe.
Well, I hope so.
Okay. Thank you so much for watching. And we'll come back with some other topic that we will still figure out, but I'm sure it will be great.
Thank you.
I have an idea about it.
Uh-oh.
Yes.
Thank you.